I never thought I'd get away with saying the stuff that I'm saying.
First time I ever saw you was when I went to the Mohammed stand-up. I was just thinking, like, this guy's humor is really crass, number one. Wild.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten in trouble for the stuff that you say on stage?
The whole sensitivity, this woke culture, here we got a healthy dose of it. We're pushing the envelope, but it's just temporarily. It's just a joke. I don't mean anything. I'm not trying to change the world. I'm just trying to be funny. When I was a teenager, around 15, I used to wear like these big glasses. I looked like Ellen DeGeneres transitioning into Harry Potter. I've started stand-up almost 10 years ago when I first started here, so I saw the evolution.
Abz Ali, thank you so much for joining us on the UAE Trailblazers podcast here with Khaleej Times. How are you?
I'm great, mate. Just want to do it as Aussie.
Getting right in there.
Yeah, I just found out that you grew up in Australia, so I'm just like, I want to do it in Aussie, yeah?
Oh, I sure did, mate.
Yeah, should have just done this in a Kendora, full headgear, and just do the quad. No.
I'm going to do this entire podcast without laughing. Okay. So first of all, you are the first Emirati stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
The first time I ever saw you was when I went to the Mohammed stand-up and you were opening.
You were there. Oh, cool.
And you were opening for him.
Yeah.
And all I was thinking, I was like...
And Maz Jabrani.
And Maz Jabrani. I'm so sorry, Maz Jabrani. Love ya.
Love it.
And I just want to say that I was just thinking, like, this guy's humor is really crass, number one.
Crass is a nice way of putting it.
Wild,
yeah,
but it was hilarious. It was great. It got, like, honestly, it was really, it got the crowd really pumped up for what was coming.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten in trouble for the stuff that you say on stage?
I say alhamdulillah. It's funny because if someone watches the comedy, they'll be like, this guy says alhamdulillah. He needs more than that after the stage. Alhamdulillah, I haven't been in trouble, but I've started stand-up almost 10 years ago when I first started here. So I saw the evolution and I never thought I'd get away with saying the stuff that I'm saying. And by the way, when I say get away, I'm not trying to insult someone on purpose. I'm just trying to say jokes that I think are funny. But if you had asked me 10 years ago, would you be able to do those jokes? I'd be like, no, we're too sensitive. Yeah.
What gave you the green light?
Oh, I lived abroad. I lived in New Zealand. That's why we can do the Aussie accent. Yeah, sure, bro. Yeah. Oh, shout out to my Kiwis. Yeah. I lived in New Zealand, and Kiwi people are nice people. They remind me of Amanis of the Commonwealth. They're like really nice, but they have a good sense of humor, very friendly, very kind.
Peaceful.
Yeah, but they had a sense of humor. Like, even though they were nice, they could take a joke. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Very chill.
Coming back here in the summer, or winter, their summer, because mate, they was flipped, yeah? Santa Claus comes with shorts and comes in some thongs. And thongs, I mean, is in the flip-flops, mate, not the Aussie one, yeah? So yeah, coming back here, I'd see the comedians, like, tell jokes, and every year, so I'd be away for 9 months. So every 9 months, I'd see a bit of a change, a bit of a change, a bit of a change, a bit of a change. And then even I think the country itself, like the government or the people involved in the tourism sector kind of, how can I say it? Not subconsciously, but subtly said like, hey, you can say things. Because with the comedians they're bringing, like Jimmy Carr.
Yeah.
Like when I found out Jimmy Carr came here, I was like, oh, he's not going to say any of his stuff. Yeah. And then he said stuff. I'm like, oh, I guess, like every comedian who went to that show, they go, I can't believe Jimmy Carr said what he said. And we're like, cool, okay, maybe this means it's opening up.
That's how I felt when I saw you saying what you were saying, and then Mohammed afterwards also, and Maz Jabrani, and you guys were all just so free to say what you want to say, and it was like, oh my God, this is really refreshing.
It is.
So do you think it was more of like the environment changing that allowed you to kind of come up and thrive?
I think there's a lot of things involved, like in the Western region, let's say in the Western part of the world, we used to see them as, oh, they're so liberal, they're so lucky. This is how we grew up. And then now growing up, I'm in my mid-30s and I'm like, oh, it's nice to have some values. But my intention, alhamdulillah, I don't know. I think people know that I'm an a-hole on stage, but I'm not really. I'm just a nice guy. Like, I don't know if you've seen Andrew Schultz.
Yeah, I'm going to see him in October, actually.
Yeah, same. So, inshallah, I open for him. Andrew, come on.
Come on, Andrew, team.
Come on, Schulzy. But you watch his stand-up, and you go, oh, that was a bit rude, but you kind of know he's a nice guy. Like, he doesn't mean that.
By the way, being like, having a certain persona on stage does not mean you're a bad person. It's just it's the way you express yourself, right? Yeah. It's a form of expression. That's how you're...
Yeah, it's art.
It's art.
And it's an act.
That's
what people forget. It's all make-believe.
Do you think, have you heard about the Hassan Minhaj controversy that's going on right now, where he's a comedian.
I know who
yeah, and basically there are these allegations
Trevor Noah,
of him. These allegations of him basically making up stories or kind of embellishing his stories to create his acts on stage.
We all do that. Even if you weren't a comedian, like if I'm gonna tell a story for the first time in front of my friends and they don't have the reaction that I initially had, not as a comedian, as Abdullah, as Abs, I'd just be like, oh, there's something missing. There's some spice, baharat, as we say. Bahar. But too much baharat, too much spices.
A little too spicy.
It's too spicy, and then you're just like, I can't swallow this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think it should be controversial, but this is what I'm saying. The whole sensitivity, this woke culture.
Yeah.
I think here we got a healthy dose of it.
I think so too.
Yeah, and we've reached a point where we're like, okay, this is good. I mean, it's not really intruding on anything, but there are still a few people you need to I guess, let them understand that we're pushing the envelope, but it's just temporarily. It's just a joke. I don't mean anything. I'm not trying to change the world. I'm just trying to be funny.
100%. I feel like there's also there's a subconscious understanding of like what is crossing the line. I feel like, I don't know, maybe that's just how I see it, that there is this kind of subconscious feeling that we all want to laugh, and we all want to laugh at things that, you might not be able to laugh at work or, something in a different setting. But here we're allowed to, we're expressing ourselves. When did you find out that you were funny? Like when had somebody told you, or you were a jokester in class? Like get into this.
Okay, Yasmin, I have to tell you a secret. When I was a teenager, around 15, I used to wear like these big glasses. I had a bowl cut. I looked like Harry Potter. I looked like Ellen DeGeneres transitioning into Harry Potter. That's how bad I looked. And I was like, I have nothing going on for me except studying. I was a nerd. I was very quiet. And true story, this happened. I still meet this guy. He's a friend of mine from school. And he goes, I just want to do a little experiment. And he goes, say exactly what I'm about to tell you, but in front of the class. So I get up, I say exactly what he says, word for word, verbatim. And then he goes, okay, now watch this. Literally, as soon as I sit down, no one laughs. As soon as I sit down, he gets up, he says the same thing. Everyone dies laughing. And I go, I want this.
His delivery was just on point.
I don't know. I think it's the confidence.
Yeah.
I learned a lot of things from guys. I mean, I'm a product of divorced parents, and like my mom, God bless her soul, mashallah, ma qassarat. And my dad was still around in our lives, but all the guys around me, like school kids and the neighborhood kids, they kind of shaped my idea of what a guy's supposed to be. So this guy Muhammad, I'm like, okay, the confidence part. Okay, he helped me. Other people also as well helped me with the confidence. But when I was 13, back in the day, they used to have these internet cafes. I don't know if you had them growing up.
Yes, I am old enough to know that. Yes.
Amazing, cheap way of spending 5 dirhams. Shout out to Games Network near Data City Center. What's up? And I watched Dave Chappelle for the first time in my life. So I'm like, oh, you can do this as a job. I watched Killing Them Softly, and I was like, oh, you can be on stage, talk to random people. It's not a movie. It's real life.
Wasn't it scary for you? Did you feel like, oh my God, this might be scary?
No, I was like, I want to do this. Like between 13 to 18, when I first started doing stand-up, I would do stand-up without knowing that I'm doing stand-up with my friends. And I had this mentality that, okay, I look like this Harry Potter guy who isn't in Harry Potter, so it's pointless. And I don't want to waste my day without making someone laugh. If I didn't make someone laugh, I felt like it was a day wasted. And that was my thing. Like in the group, everyone had their own thing. I was just the funny guy. At school, I was quiet, so I'd repress everything. I was just like a recorder, just listening to everything. And then once I got home, finished my homework, like a good nerd, then I would be like, okay, time to let loose.
All right. Take us through a little bit of, because you said your parents were divorced. You said also that you repress a lot of...
Shout out to my parents are divorced, Sean.
We're stealing your content. I just want to...
My parents were divorced before you. But clearly they didn't do a good job because you're way more famous. I love Sean.
He stole the handle.
Yeah, he stole the handle. No.
I just want to say, so basically, do you think that trauma gives you the oomph, like the materials for the content, or like how do you think it kind of shapes your persona on stage? Does it shape your persona on stage?
I think trauma gives you trauma for sure. Trauma. But the way you react to it, like depends what you do with it, right? Like life is always going to give you something. Let's for example, this brilliant mindset: when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. But some people be like, I'm just going to eat this lemon and it's bitter and I hate.
Yeah.
But I don't blame people who are stuck in that rut. So me, again, growing up in a quiet environment, maybe just realizing this isn't the worst thing. And I think in stages in life, Like me growing up for a long time, I was like, oh, my parents are divorced. I'm a poor person. Something wrong. And then as I became a teenager, I'm like, oh, I'm lucky. Because all my friends would complain about their dad beating them or punishing them. I'm like, I don't have to worry about that stuff. Like, my mom's all chill.
Yeah.
And also growing up in an environment where I think it was promoted to be funny. Like, my mom is hilarious. My dad's side of the family, they're quite funny as well amongst themselves.
Did they encourage it when you were doing stand-up? Did you like go up to them and do little stand-up skits for them?
No, I tried. I had this problem in my life where I was like, I have to separate my professional life. Like, I think in this region, everyone has two lives. They have a personal life and a public life. And I'm not going to say more than that, but people have two phones. You know what I'm talking about. My stand-up life was my stand-up. That was just Abz Ali. And then after that, I'm Abdullah. As soon as I get off stage, I'm Abdullah. I'm the dentist. I'm the guy who's just around his family and friends. I didn't let it
Forgot to
phase me.
mention that you are a dentist in
Hey, making smiles since, I don't know, whatever.
day
Yeah.
job dentist. I didn't. Yeah, I
Yeah.
should have mentioned that at the beginning. But I mean, do you feel like it kind of? Do you want to keep that day job and do?
I definitely want to keep my job.
Yeah.
In case
So
someone
you don't
likes it.
ever think of having comedy as a full-time thing?
I'd love to. Look, this is my dilemma. My dilemma is I love dentistry almost as much as I love comedy.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good.
That's great.
It's great because the scientific part of my brain is like, okay, I enjoy this, working with my hands. But the artistic side of me, and funnily enough, by the way, growing up in this Arab household, they're like, you have to be doctor, engineer, lawyer. And I found out my mom, like, I knew all this the whole time, but I had an epiphany. I was like, my mom's an art teacher and my dad's an author. Like, they push us to do scientific stuff.
Okay, now I can see where the kind of expression, creative freedom comes from.
Yeah, and also they grew up in a time where, like, it was like the 70s. It's a different time in the UAE. It's a different time and they did university in Egypt.
Yeah.
So you can imagine Egypt is like, I don't know, not Amsterdam, but it's kind of like Beirut, you know?
How do you like, do you have any pre-stage rituals? What do you do before you go on stage? Do you feel like, are there any nerves at all? Or are you just, I got this?
I listen to music.
Okay.
So I put like before every show, I do a pre-gig tune. So today's
Rehearse? Don't you rehearse?
I have like so again, this is a secret tip of the trade, I guess.
Top
is
secret sauce.
Top secret sauce. Secret menu, number
Yeah.
5. Abu juice. I have like a joke pool. So I'll be like, okay, I want to do this joke. Okay, this new joke is kind of working. Let's work on it today. So I just put the bullet points and I'll be like, this is, and it depends on the time that they give us.
Yeah.
So we're actually, again, everything is staged. You have a time, you have a frame, your position on the set list, like when you're going on, everything is actually planned.
But are you ever nervous of how a joke would land in terms of like offending anyone or not really?
I used to. When I first started, I was like, I really cared about people's opinions. And then I was just like, people have so much other things to worry about that
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. I mean, once in a while, there is someone who will make a bit of noise, but then I'm just like, it's okay.
Yeah, like so is
Please
like,
don't
what-
make noise.
You know, like what is the joke that's gotten you in trouble the most? Or is there a joke that's gotten you in trouble the most or someone's kind of complained about?
I don't know. It's weird, right? Because sometimes you do a joke and you're like, this is the cleanest joke I'll ever do. And then someone goes, I didn't like that joke. I think it's actually possibly, maybe, I don't know, haram or
And would they
it's
come up to you
offensive.
and say this?
The people that have the guts would say it to me face to face. Other
Right.
people would write on Instagram maybe and comment. And then
Okay.
and then I tried to have rational conversations with these people. I was like, okay, you have your freedom of opinion because I believe in that as a comedian. You can express yourself. So express yourself, but I have the freedom to reply, and this is my reply.
Right.
And then it turns into a point where it's always losing because their head's in a box, and I'm just like, okay, there's no point to discuss with it.
Yeah.
Like I did the Ittihad Arena show, and then there was a joke. Not a joke. They just said, you shouldn't have said that stuff.
The visa joke?
No, not the visa. I mean, maybe I'm sure someone wasn't too happy with that visa joke, but again, it's a joke. And it's funny how, by the way, I have to say this, in case you don't know, Arabs, again, that personal life and that public life. Personally, we all do that joke. All behind the scenes, we all did that joke.
Exactly.
Whether you are Khaleeji or not Khaleeji,
Yeah.
you'll be like, oh, I'm worried he's going to, deport me. It's a joke.
It's a joke.
Okay. And Arabs, my own opinion, I feel like Arabs have almost like a black person's sense of humor, black people's sense of humor, because they riff off each other.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And I grew up with a lot of like Zanzibaris who turned out to my distant cousins. So that's what shaped my humor.
real?
For real. That's part of the set as well. I talk about that. Like my cousin Bassam.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, we're related because you're half Omani. And he had the British accent, by the way, because he grew up in Portsmouth.
Oh, no way.
So yeah, he's like, cuz we cousins. And I go, bro, you're black, I'm white, like mustahil.
Yeah, like how is this happening?
Exactly. And then one day, 4 years, we're neighbors. One day I go to his house and I see my Uncle Majid there. I go, what are you doing here?
there?
Yeah, and he goes, oh, I'm here to see my nephew Bassam. I go, why do you have a British accent all of a sudden as well? Shoo, Fajr, you all became British. Hello, yeah. And he's like in a Kandora thobe and speaking. I'm like, what the? Like, as soon as you walk into this house, oh, what's happened here? Oh my God.
You have like a completely different family all of a sudden. It's
Yeah.
like, with British accents.
Yeah, and we grew up like they wanted to freestyle rap, or we grew up with stand-up comedy. We'd make fun of each other. Like, I look like Harry Potter, so people would talk about Harry Potter. We'd roast each other.
Who said you look like Harry Potter?
I don't now because I went through puberty and I grew a beard. Back in the day, I'll find the picture for you. Yeah.
Please, yeah, so we can
Please,
insert that
yeah, just
right here.
Faliha.
Do you think somebody can learn to be funny?
I think it's like going to the gym. So
Practice?
you have practice. You can have a coach who will give you the right exercises, but there's also a genetic component.
Okay.
Or a life experience component.
Or an intellect kind of span, like a I feel like there's certain things that you will find funny that other people will not find funny, and that's just up to how your brain works.
Yeah, and
right?
you're not responsible for people's reactions, not just in stand-up, in general. I'm responsible for maybe what I say, but I'm not responsible for your feelings, because feelings aren't just like a moment. It's actually deeply embedded. I'm a smart guy, because I'm a doctor.
But also, it's the feelings are fleeting. Also, you can be pissed off at one joke, and then the next day have the same exact jokes be told to you, and you're like, haha.
Exactly. Or you could be like, you had such a bad day.
Yeah.
And then the thing that triggered, like, people have just been hounding you the whole day, and then the thing that triggers you is that joke, and you're like, khalas, I'm just gonna let loose.
Yeah.
But look, again, I'm a person who has seen the negative sides of being too liberal. What we've seen in the West is I have the right to express myself. I have the right to be offended. I have the right. And just as much as you have the right, then a comedian or an artist should have, especially an artist, they should have the right to express themselves.
Take us through what inspires you. Do you watch a lot of comedians doing their thing on? Do you go to shows? Like, what is the thing that tickles your brain?
Korean drama. No, I love anime is weird. Yeah, anime is the true one. No, I do watch a lot of stand-up. Like, I'm a heavy procrastinator, which is a problem. Like, when I was studying dentistry, I remember I met a comedian, Edwin San Juan. He was Filipino. He's hilarious. And I told him, I think I'm almost failing dentistry because of you.
Really?
Yeah, because I would just watch stand-up and I discover someone new. I go, oh my God, this is hilarious. I have to watch all their clips.
You must have been good at school. You must have been like a studious like student, right?
I'm good in certain things. Again, it's me discovering myself. Like, the things that interest me, maybe because this might be related to the ADD. I'm not formally diagnosed. I'm
Why
not
do all
diagnosed.
comedians have ADD?
Because you have to be sharp. You're in a high intensity sort of environment, right?
So you have to be so present.
Witty.
But yeah, okay, I get it. So it's like you have to be super present, but at the same time, you have to anticipate what someone says. So it's like future and present.
You have to be like almost 5 steps ahead. Like, if you grew up in the neighborhood I grew up and someone's roasting you, you have to be like ahead of this guy 3 times. Oh, wow. You know what I mean? So I don't think it really happened when I was a teenager, but throughout stand-up, when I first started stand-up as well, I was very reserved. I was like, should I? And the thing in the head kept going, should I say this? No, second guessing.
Right.
And then one year, I remember I had an epiphany and I go, I'm just going to say whatever's in my mind. And I said it. And then the reaction was way better than what I thought. And I was like, oh, this is the trick. It took me 6-7 years to figure it out.
So what would you tell your younger self then? If that was 6-7 years ago, what would you tell younger Abdullah?
Just have fun. Literally, I tell this to all the new comedians. I'm like, listen, I can see you have potential. I think you can go places. Just relax, have fun. When you have fun, they have fun.
But the thing is, it's kind of difficult because when you're on stage, you're also, when I watch these Netflix specials, they're so long. How is the comedian remembering all of their material? This is something that's like mind-boggling to me. I know it's very, it's about how to do it. Do you have any tips for people who have like a long set?
You're asking the wrong person, Yasmin.
Yeah?
Because I don't know if you saw me on the last show. I had my phone and I would sneakily glance at my phone and be like, oh yeah, that.
Well, nobody noticed though. Nobody notices that. You're like, kind of, it's the performance is carrying it.
It is, yeah. And I think people think, oh, the phone's part of the the show.
I never noticed it.
You didn't notice it? Okay, great. Alhamdulillah. But what I know is some comedians say, I think of it as a story. I've watched documentaries about memory, and apparently you have to like like when I was studying in university, I would remember stuff by remembering dumb things.
Okay.
Like I'd be like, there's this bacteria, or I think this fungi, to this day I know the name. Treponema pallidum.
Yeah.
The only reason why I know what it's called is because I used to do it in an Irish accent. I'd be like, Treponema pallidum. And it's just, I don't know what it does. I don't know what the point of it, but I just remember this bacteria because I did it in an Irish accent. So
you're okay.
You have to make a story.
Like,
you have to make it interesting for you. And memorizing involves emotion. So you have to put some emotional component to it. So if it's a true story, obviously you're going to remember more than you made up a story. Me, I have these little notes that I glance from time to time. I don't know if you saw Chris Rock's latest special. He actually had a little screen. So the stage has those two little, I don't know what they call them, but I think the wind covers or whatever.
Yeah.
Where back in the day, there used to be a guy who'd pop his head and be like, yeah, yeah. So they had a little screen that would go through bullet points of his jokes. And I don't blame him because it's a live show. It was a live special that they were taping for Netflix. It's hard.
Fascinating.
I get bored of my own voice.
This is crazy though. I love it. But like you do a lot of like crowd work.
I've seen, right? Like Schulz.
That's fun.
Like Schulz. For me,
Get into your show.
Yeah.
ASMR.
Yeah.
Andrew Schultz. Okay, let's play a fun game.
Yeah.
All right. What is the best comment you've ever gotten on your Instagram about your comedy? Whatever.
Probably like something along the lines like, oh man, you really made my day. Or like, oh, I really enjoy your comedy. Keep going. And it usually comes, by the way, when I'm having such a horrible day or like I'm doubting myself. All artists doubt themselves. So I'm just like, what am I doing? I feel like this is all like people are all in on an act.
Yeah.
They're laughing because they want to make me feel better.
So imposter syndrome.
Imposter. Oh my God, I had a horrible one last year. I was like, me and a bunch of comedians was like, what is this imposter syndrome? What am I doing?
Wow. And that was
midlife
like
crisis.
years after you've...
This was before the Etihad Arena.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was
So
Etihad Arena the first big like kind of show you did?
no, I did the Coca-Cola Arena with Wayne Brady a couple of years before.
Okay.
Shout out to Coca-Cola Arena. I know Trevor Noah's coming. Hey, what's up? I am from this country.
It's all
You
about
must.
promotion today.
Where's your Emiratization program, guys? What's going on? What is this?
All right. Worst comment you've gotten.
Worst comment you got?
Should we read them on
Yeah, have them. You probably screenshot them. You're like, what's the worst comment
Guess
you got?
what? I have it right here.
You're like, what's
No,
the worst
kidding.
comment? And then you go, okay, well, I'll one up that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
just roast me. Worst comment is, I think to me, it's not the worst comment. It's more like a surprise when someone's like, hey, you shouldn't joke about that.
Okay, that's it.
Or like, hey, that joke, instead of saying that,
Yeah.
maybe you should talk about spoons. And it's like, oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you recently got your mom on stage.
No,
Right?
recently I got her. So funny enough, the first time I got her on stage was Sean was watching me perform for the first time.
Okay.
And it was impromptu.
Does she love it? Like, is she happy on stage?
I think she does, but she says, oh, I don't think I'm funny. Oh, I shouldn't be saying these things. She's like in her 60s and she's still worried about what people think. I'm like, if you're worried at 60, what people think, bro, like,
Bro, you gotta get on stage.
you
a
need
bit
to go.
more.
And she's way funnier. Like, she's actually the true first Emirati comedian, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think she enjoys it because I've heard
Shouts to mom.
shout outs to mom and Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola Arena, Trevor Noah / Andrew
At the
Schultz.
Arena, yeah. I actually wanted to do a show with my mom where we travel like Jack Whitehall and his dad, but me and my mom.
Okay.
So my mom, I think she really enjoys it because I've heard her laugh in a way that I haven't heard her laugh ever.
That's
Like,
really sweet.
yeah, like the visceral laugh.
I love it.
And then after the show, she goes, these guys laugh at anything. I go, no, they
No, you're
don't.
funny.
They
Okay.
don't. You are funny. Please
Let's bring
believe in
mom.
yourself.
Mom, where you
Yeah,
at?
surprise. Oh my God.
All right, favorite movie?
Favorite movie. Ooh. Does it have to be a comedy or?
No, just
My favorite movie is The Prestige, Christopher Nolan.
magician.
Magician. I go,
Magician.
all the show. No, it's so
So
good.
you like performance stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate it much more. I think doing stand up.
Because sorry, I realized that your Instagram is not full of. It's not like full of these like reels and content. It's more like you focus on your stand up, right?
Yeah, it's real me. It's a real me, I guess.
The real reels
The real reals me.
of abs.
Yeah.
So do you plan to do more online content or not really?
I think so. I think I've realized the power in it. Like we have a show today with Sean.
Yeah.
My parents are divorced and it's sold out. So I think they announced it on Sunday or Monday, and I got sold out the next day. So I'm like, oh, this guy has star power. He's hilarious. Don't get me wrong. It's not just because he's famous. He's absolutely hilarious. I can't wait to perform with him. But people meet me after the show. They go, how long have you been doing it? Oh, you're the first. Like, how come I haven't heard about you? And I go,
yeah.
I guess I'm not being pushed as much, or I'm not pushing myself.
Do you feel like you need that like encouragement to be like, yeah, let's go. We're doing this?
Yeah, I suck at. I'm not good at like pushing myself. If someone tells me, hey, Abz, this is what you need to do, I'll be like, done.
Yeah, okay.
Just put me.
You just need that like management kind of thing.
I need them. I have a manager, but he's like more more about the money.
More chiller than you.
No, he's really good. Jamil, I love Jamil, but the problem again, I have this dual life.
We gotta get this guy.
Just dropping names. No, the problem is living between Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So I'm from Dubai, but I work in Abu Dhabi as a dentist, and then the schedule, shift work. So I've lost a few opportunities. I don't say I've lost. I think everything happens for a reason, but I've skipped on a few opportunities because of work.
What do you want to do next year or this year? Like, what are your future plans? Anything else you want to focus on?
Well, I was gonna move to the UK to study. Yeah, I was, and dentistry.
Okay.
Be a clown. I'll be a British clown, yeah, innit? Meet me at the brunch. That's where the clowns are. Anyways, studying more dentistry for another 3 years, and then alhamdulillah, it didn't work out.
Okay.
So now I gotta focus more on the comedy.
I hope you do. You're really funny.
Thank you so much.
I mean, you really got to.
You're funny, man. We should get you on stage.
No, thanks.
Yeah, trust me.
Do not get me on. So I feel like someone's gonna call me out and be like, "Hey, get on!" I'm like,
yeah, you do great impersonations. Where like you do the British one.
I do.
Wow.
I do. Yeah, I know. I used to do that with my sisters a lot, so it just like comes out naturally.
Do you have like a top 3 stand-up comedians or?
Top 3 stand up.
Or 5.
Honestly, Andrew Schultz.
Yeah.
Is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I listen to his podcast all the time.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for him to come here. I got the tickets like the first day. I was so excited.
Yeah, they're sold out now.
They're sold out.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle. Yeah. Wow.
Second.
Amazing.
You know what? I would say Trevor Noah, but not stand up. Trevor Noah just
Daily
as a
Show.
person,
Yeah.
like Daily Show, all his after like rolling specials, the crowd work that he does is genius.
Yeah.
So I think with him, like I like the comedians who have like there's mentally stimulating, it's just something to think about. So I really like.
Which is good because I think a lot of this new generation, Gen Z, whatever, TikTok, like ADD, HD, I don't think they have the time or the patience. Maybe, I don't know.
100%. I think there's a lot of social media kind of scrolling behaviors that are detrimental to giving yourself time to be like, to develop skills, being funny, being on stage. These things do need patience, and you do need to like kind of keep at it, right?
Yeah, and I think when I first started stand-up, I remember a comedian saying like, you have to have a punchline or a joke every 15 seconds. So that's the pressure. 15 seconds for a comedian feels either very long or very short.
Wow.
In the beginning, it feels very long. And then as time goes on, it feels very short.
I didn't know that. Every 15 seconds.
This is what some people, that's what the scholars, that's what the scientists said. I think it's different now. Like Chappelle, a lot of people don't realize is the way he talks to you, I think, is like you're almost in the room with him.
Right.
Like he's telling you a story, you personally, Yasmin, I'm telling you the story. So there's pauses. Perfect. Like maybe he plans them, but you're still listening, even if he's pausing.
He's a great storyteller, and you do feel like he's talking to you.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, Abz, thank you so much for being with us, and good luck with your show tonight. You're gonna kill it.
Thank you. Follow me on the gram, Abz Ali Comedy. I have TikTok, but I'm not really that big on it. Just Abz Ali Comedy. and my camel.
All right, guys. If you like this video, do like, share, and subscribe, and we shall see you on the next one. Guys, this episode is sponsored by 25 Hours Hotel, and I just want to thank them for providing us with this beautiful room to do the podcast in, and thank you so much.